What's up, YouTube? ODST General back again. So I've got a number of Operation Trebuchet things to talk about with you guys, but basically the goal of this will be to try and be a lot shorter than usual. So let's jump right into it. So development side, we've got two real big things going on that were news this week. One is Zephyr is redoing the URF uniforms again. These were already redone. I believe we had some pictures of them in game I actually showed off. But she didn't really like the way they turned out because this was her first attempt at like soft clothing, so she's going back and redoing those. So I only have one picture that you guys are seeing right now, but there was a number of live streams on her Twitch channel. She did post those on the Discord, so it's always one of those reasons to follow the Discord or check Zephyr out on Twitch. The other bigger thing that I think is shown off by Scorch. Now, this shows off the new ODST armor in-game, Scorch, because of what I commented on one of my previous videos. Basically did specify that these textures are placeholder. The olive camo ODST will be changed to the black. It'll probably be pretty close to the gray ODST helmets that we see on the guys in this picture. These appear to be the new style of ODST helmet going into the mod, giving their look a little bit more accurate to what we've seen in game. I would like to see both the olive and the black ODST armor, not because I want to see olive drab ODSTs, but because there is live action Halo Marines that are like special forces or something that use the ODST armor that look like that. The other thing in this that a lot of people might not be noticing is that the weapons have new textures and materials. So it sounds like all of the weapons have at this point been redone or are getting close to it. I didn't actually verify 100% what how far along they were, but you know, you can see the SMG. That's new materials, new texture and stuff on there. I'm not sure if Zest DMR got redone as well, because obviously that's the probably one of the newest additions to the mod. And then the Halo Reach sniper rifle Zephyr did looks like it probably got polished up just a tad bit too. That one was already pretty good quality though, so that one's a little bit tougher to tell given the angle and stuff. So that's it for official development news. So let's go ahead and talk about side mods and projects. So, not a lot to talk about, but we'll start with OpCan. Burgess did develop a little bit further his map. The biggest thing that he showed off, I've only got one picture for the map, is he started work on the cityscape. You can see there's some walls up and a couple of freestanding structures here and there. Not a lot to see, but it gives you kind of a basis to get an idea of how large the city will be and what you can kind of expect from it. And then the other one is that Burgess has also been working on OpCan retextures of the militia. That's not his CGA units, so these aren't the Vietnam guys I showed off previously. Some people had been kind of confused over that. These are just militia, so these aren't those Vietnam guys. These are just like the ragtag soldiers. As you can see, looking at these guys, there's a few different styles and textures. You've got like a desert pattern and woodland pattern for these guys. You've got some with and without hoods. It looks like the hood tends to go under the helmet. Not super Halo feeling yet. At least not to me, but I mean, they do look at, in a couple aspects, I guess, pretty similar to some like the Rebels and stuff you see in some of the concept art. There's some screens where these guys are using standard vanilla weapons and some where they're using op-tray weapons, and so there's a few different things. They're kind of getting a little bit of a mix-up going in there, just to try and, I guess, bolster the amount of content that you see in the variety of content. So that's all that's going on for OpCan, so let's go ahead and talk about op-tray CC. Not a lot to talk about this time around. The big thing with this one is Joshua showed off his work on the battle rifle continuing on. A couple of the pictures he shared, I believe, are ones we've already shared in the past, or they look very similar to it. He showed off 3 different pictures of different versions of the battle rifle. 2 without the carrying handle, and then 1 with the carrying handle. The one with the carrying handle, though, I do believe is actually new. So that one's pretty neat. I'm pretty excited to see that eventually. I don't know when we'll actually see this enter the game. I suspect it's a pretty good long ways out. What else? Let's see here. The Cricket for Optray CC is in the game, but is in Fletcher's Mark X mod, or Mark 10 mod. I'm not sure which it's supposed to be. But it is in game, as I did say in the last video. I do actually have footage to accompany that this time around. So just a pretty basic weapon, but it's definitely going to be a big thing for guys who carry around rockets and have to carry them over longer distances, or are going to be less defensive with them. I think this will be really popular among a lot of units. And then lastly, the last thing I want to talk about is the Brutes. The Brutes have some really bad news. The Brutes might be done. You know, and I do tend to make it sound a little bit more dramatic when I'm putting this stuff in the title, but, you know, when it comes to this, Morthon himself is not really sure if the Brutes will be coming back at all or not. There is some good news with that, but let me talk about basically what's wrong, and then we'll talk about the good news. So what's happened is Morthon has been testing the Brutes out, and he's finding that they are having issues targeting their opponents. In this case, it's usually the player, but it also applies to AI or whatever. It doesn't really matter. They will shoot at anything that walks in front of their path, but if you're off to their side, they do not shoot at you. You know, and they do seem to turn at certain distances if you're in like close quarters with them, but that obviously is it's a bit of a rarity in Arma. I mean, how often are you sitting there right on top of your enemy? It happens sometimes, but the majority of combat takes place at pretty good distance usually, I find. So, you know, obviously this is a very damaging thing. Now, Morthon, as he's been developing the Brutes, has been designing these things in conjunction with assistance from one of the Bohemia devs, who is also released the Brickman mod, or the Lego mod. And apparently that mod has had the same issue, so the developer, after discovering Morthon's run into the same problem, is looking through official channels to see if this is a problem with the game's development engine, or if it's just some sort of fluke that can be remedied. So right now there isn't a whole lot that, as far as can be seen, can be done until this guy gets back to Morthon. Now, you know, the good news for that is that obviously he is being helped by Bohemia Dev. And, you know, the main development of the mod team is there to provide any support they can for the Brutes, it sounds like. So if there's anything they can do to actually help out in this instance, they're going to try and do their best to do so. Beyond that, though, I think that's really all I have to talk about this week. Now, like I said, I wanted this to be a shorter video, so in the comments below... Actually, you know what? I lied. There was something I was forgetting to talk about. My last video, there was a little bit of confusion. Basically, people saw the flight helmet from the ODST picture I took and say, oh yeah, he said that's the Halo 2 ODST armor. That's not the Halo 2 ODST armor, that's the Halo 3 flight helmet. I was referring to the vest being the Halo 2 vest for ODSTs. There is no shin plates, anything like that. The armor, I should say, uniform under the armor was just default Arma Urban uniform. So, yeah, just the Halo 2 ODST vest so far. At any rate, guys, I appreciate you watching the video. Take it easy. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below, and I will see you next time.